Hey guys, welcome back to Rossoneri TV. Today we're here to talk about the derby, the match between Milan and Inter that was played at the San Siro. Match number 36 in the 2013-2014 Serie A season. Derby della Madonnina, very important match for both teams, not only for the importance of the match itself, but also for the Europa League positions, which are very, very tight, and both teams still don't know their destiny in next year's European contention. So today, there's two guests that are joining me. First of all, Adamo, always faithful, and we have an Interista on a Rossoneri show. We have Nima from Sweden. He's the owner of sempreinter.com and the president of Interisti Svedesi. Welcome, guys. Welcome to today's match review. How are you guys doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I could be better. I've been better, but yeah, I guess I'm good. I guess I'm good.
So Nima, first of all, I'm guessing the result of the match kind of affected your your feelings right now.
Not so much the result as the performance. I mean,
Okay.
losing the derby is one thing, but the performance, I mean, was just not there. Nothing. The Inter didn't show up today. I
Mm.
mean, I'm the only aspect of life where I'm a bit of a conservative is when it comes to football. I love Catenaccio. I love the low defenses. I love Mourinho when he parks the bus. I love that. But there's a difference between parking the bus and parking the bus in the parking lot with the players in it, and that's what Mazzari did today. Inter weren't on the pitch today. They didn't show up to this match, and if Milan were a better team, they would have completely destroyed Inter today by 4 or 5 goals.
Mm.
This was a very, very poor derby. Milan weren't that good, but they sucked less than Inter, and
Yeah.
also they were able to lift their game. And I can't believe I'm saying these following words, but Seedorf tactically outmaneuvered Mazzarri, which is absurd. I mean, Seedorf isn't really a coach. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just
Exactly.
unbelievable. So Mazzarri has a lot to answer for. He really does.
Completely agree on that. And speaking about the performance that you mentioned before about Inter and Milan, today, I mean, for a Derby della Madonnina, what we saw today in terms of performance, let's just say it was way below standards. I mean, Derby della Madonnina, a game that's supposed to be a very exciting atmosphere, not only for the fans, but for the players themselves. What I saw today on the field, guys, was pretty much a performance where both teams were just playing any other casual game. I don't know if you guys had the same experience that I had, but that's at least what I saw.
Do you wanna go, Adam, or do you wanna let me go, or what do you wanna do?
I guess I'll go, but yeah, I 100% agree. I don't know. It was weird because I expected like after watching the Coppa Nazio or the Coppa Italia final, I was thinking like, oh, this is gonna be an amazing game. It's a derby.
Yeah.
I felt the vibes, and like yes, Milan won, but that was an extremely boring game, especially in the first half, because Inter they were just like Nima said, not that they parked the bus, but they left in the parking lot because they just sat back the entire time. I'm pretty sure they didn't have a shot on target. In the second half, Milan started to pick it up. They attacked more with more attacking threats, and of course, De Jong got that goal off Balotelli's free kick. But besides that, it wasn't much of a derby, if you ask me. Besides the fans.
Yeah, I gotta agree with
Yeah,
Adamo
and
there. I
let's
think
talk a bit
the
about.
atmosphere. Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah, no, I gotta agree with Adamo there because I thought the atmosphere was fantastic. I thought it was like it always is. I mean, if anyone has the chance to see this derby, irrespective of, or actually, if irrespective of any derby, if you have the chance to visit Italy and watch a derby game, a derby match, do it because the atmosphere is just fantastic. I mean, if it's a derby della Madonnina, or if it's a Derby d'Italia, or if it's a Derby della Mole in Turin, or if it's the Ligurian Derby between Genoa and Samp. Derby della Lanterna, I mean, or the Sicilian derby, just, or the Capitale. All derbies in Italy are fantastic matches and fantastic atmospheres. However, you can't get away from the fact that this was awful. This was absolutely dreadful to watch. It was painful. I mean, I can't remember the last time when I actually was thinking about, when during a derby game, I was actually thinking about doing my laundry.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like that's exactly pretty much what I was saying because like for a derby, you expect it to be like you already know the fans. No matter what, the fans they're just gonna make such an amazing atmosphere. But the game itself, you expect it to be something special. But today, just nobody really showed up. Both sides didn't really play that well. And like you said, if Milan were like on their game and they were a better Milan, they would have destroyed Inter because they were just sitting back the entire time. They weren't even playing well. It was just I don't know. It was a very odd game.
But it's not. I mean, the thing that pissed me off the most about it's not about, like I said, it's not, playing defensively, playing low, defending. That's okay, but they didn't even turn up to the game today. Inter weren't there. I don't know where they were. They just weren't there. They were running around, jogging on the pitch. I mean, I hate to say it, but this performance reminded me of the horror show during Stramaccioni from February to May last year. There was just they just didn't turn up. They were just standing there. I don't know what they were doing, but they weren't there. They just weren't there. And that's something that Mazzari. I mean, he himself said that it was, he said that Inter's performance said that we were clumsy and we were slow. And I think that, for once, Mazzari is obviously known all over Italy for not exactly for being the most self-critical guy on the planet, but today he actually criticized himself. He said, he didn't blame it on anyone else. He said that we were slow, we were clumsy, we weren't good. Let's just forget about this because this was an awful football match.
Yeah, 100% agree. I'm gonna ask you a question really quick. I know this might be hard being an Interisti, but
Mm.
uh, what do you think would be like the like how would you describe Milan's play? Like how they played, how well they played, if they played bad, good, whatever.
I think what Milan did that was very clever from a tactical point of view was that they tried to block Inter in the middle of the pitch. This locked Inter entirely, which didn't allow Inter to spread the ball into the wings and attack. They completely locked Inter. I mean, they centralized. So Milan were very central, and also they played very physically. Which is quite strange that a Mazzari team has a problem with a team that plays more physically than them. Usually Mazzari, commands teams that like to play physical and like to get in there and grit. But today, De Jong was fantastic. For me, he was a man of the match. He completely ate the midfield. Him and Montolivo they bossed the midfield today. They completely dominated Cambiasso, Hernanes, and Kovacic. Obviously, because they were very very stable on the pitch from a tactical point of view. But what I didn't like was that there was no tempo from either team. There was absolutely no tempo. And Inter usually like to play a much fast tempo game. Milan, however, don't. Milan, they like to control the matches in a slow down the tempo so that it suits them, and that's what Seedorf got his team to do. And when that's the most important thing, to control the tempo of the match in a way, because if you control the tempo, you can also lure the opponent to play the match on your terms, and that's what Milan did today.
Yeah, again, 100% agree with you because I don't know. It was like Milan. It's like they had Inter in their pocket, pretty much. They were controlling the game. They know what they're doing. Yes, they didn't play particularly amazing, as everybody could see, but they had more control over Inter. It's like they were more dominant than Inter were, even though they were trying, but they couldn't really get a grasp on the game. But like we were saying about De Jong and Montolivo before, how would you like you said how De Jong was the man of the match, but how would you rate De Jong over like the season in general? Because if you ask me, I feel he's the most underrated Milan player ever. because nobody ever talks about him. But then right when he's taken out for a game, like subbed out, or if he gets injured or suspended, there's a massive hole in that midfield. Because I feel that he does so much defensive work that he makes our defense look good when it's clearly not good. Like we have Mexes and Constant starting in our defense. That's not really something to be proud of. But yeah, what would you think about that?
I mean, I first of all got to comment on that because I mean, I grew up with you know, back in the day when AC Milan's back defense, you know, back four was Tassotti, Maldini, Baresi, Costa Curta. So to see Mexes, Constant, Bonera, you know, to take over from them
Yeah.
is it's heresy. You know, it's beyond insulting. It's heresy. But yeah, no. Milan. Sorry, what was the question again? I didn't. I missed. You cut out.
Yeah, no problem. It was over like De Jong, over like how would you
Oh yeah,
say?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. De Jong, I think is a very underrated player. He's a very he's a type of player that is very underrated. That you know, he's not the most spectacular player. He's probably most well known in the world for fly kicking. Was it Iniesta? He fly kicked in the chest in the World
Xabi
Cup
Alonso,
final.
Xabi
Yeah,
Alonso.
Xabi Alonso. Yeah, you know, we pretty much. I mean, that was
Yeah.
that's barely allowed in the WWE, let alone on a football pitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, that's the kind of player he is. However, what people forget is that this player is a playing footballer as well. He has technique. He has a good, you know, he has good vision. I mean, when he came up the ranks at Ajax, he was a trequartista at Ajax. You know, that's how he started his game, and we know, you
Yeah.
know, that's the kind of, you know, he started out as a very attacking player, and then he was moved down when he played for Hamburg into a deep lying position because he wasn't fast enough. But I think this is a midfielder that Montolivo and De Jong are players that Milan should build around because they're quality. The rest of them, you know, Montarinho and and Andrea Poli, who was awful today. I didn't think he had a
Yeah.
good game at all. And I mean, Poli's all right, but you know, he's not going to be some superstar. He's not going to. And Muntari, well, Muntari is Muntari. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Uh, but and Tarapt, I think, you know, Tarapt and Ram, you know, he the thing about Tarapt is that he's too inconsistent. What, you know, he for me he's like Guarin. What, you know, really high level when he's at his best, but when he can't get it to work, he looks awkward on the pitch. He just you know, so if they can get him to kind of raise his lowest level, then they have a really good player there. Then they're starting to look like a really decent midfield. But I will never understand. I mean, I love Essien, but I just do not understand why Michael Essien was brought to AC Milan. I will never understand that.
Yeah. A lot of people thought it'd be somewhat of like a Van Bommel signing, but I think we all knew SCN was far past his prime. His
Mm.
days at Chelsea and Real Madrid of serving like a slave for Mourinho. But yeah, on that SCN signing, I don't think it was much of a good idea. Yes, it adds some sort of like a backup plan, I guess you could say, for De Jong, because we have
Mm.
no other real defensive midfielders.
No,
But I
no.
mean, like of all people, we pick SCN, but I guess
Yeah.
because he was free, so they just snatched him up
Well, yeah. I mean,
because Galliani.
yeah. Obviously, it's. I guess that, you know, if you look at it from that point of view, it's true. But I don't know. Is Giovanni still here?
Yeah, he's here, but he's just having some technical difficulties, so we'll
Oh,
just keep
okay.
talking. But
Okay.
next question would be how would you feel on the Shilio's return? Like, it's his first time playing in around 2 months, I think, and his first game was a derby, so
Well, it showed that it was his first game in 2 months, didn't it? I mean, he did not have a good first half. He had he was lucky at times. I mean, you know, when he was caught out of possession, sometimes when he was caught out, especially in the first half, when I remember him slipping and Palacio had the ball and Palacio couldn't control the ball, so he, you know, managed to get it out. I don't think De Chilio had a good game, but De Chilio is a talent. I think that it's a player that Milan can build around. It's a player who can become a bandiera, a culture bearer at Milan. However, he needs to grow. He needs to be taken care of, and I think Milan will. but Milan should be. I mean, El Shaarawy and De Sciglio and Balotelli have to be the focal point of this team. If they're because they're young, they have talent, and they have quality. And what people need to remember is, or what Milan need to fix, is the issue with El Shaarawy and Balotelli, because ever since Balotelli has arrived at Milan, El Shaarawy, first he was awful, then he was injured. Obviously, the injury isn't Balotelli's fault, but they need to get those two working together.
Yeah.
Then Milan will have a fantastic attack, because the talent that you can't. It's not up for debate. The talent that Balotelli and El Shaarawy have. There's absolutely no discussion there. They're fantastic players.
Yeah, I got 100% agree with you there as well. That's another thing that I kind of don't get about Milan, because I remember when they were willing to sell El Shaarawy, and like there's reports about Balotelli, even De Sciglio going to Real Madrid, and I think like they said they're doing a youth project. Now we all know that's out the window, but still, like I don't I don't get why they would even debate trying to sell those three players. If you ask me, if you want to improve the most, you found these three gem players and you build
Mm.
around them, and then you're pretty much set.
Well, that's just it. I mean, you have to, at the end of the day, you have to make a decision. Inter have said that they want to build their project around Icardi, Kovacic, and Juan Jesus. Milan have Galliani. Well, it's not Galliani. It's the fact that Milan are going through something that I have not seen them go through at all during my 32, 33, almost 33 years on this planet. I mean, the fact that Milan has always been the club where everything works, where everything is structured, where you know who the boss is and things just get done. Now you have a Barbara Berlusconi who wants to do things in a very modern way and wants to get rid of Galliani because Galliani is antiquated and God knows blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
Berlusconi, who's kind of caught between his daughter on one side, his loyalty to Galliani on the other, and his honor, and the sex scandals and the tax evasion
Yeah, yeah.
cases, and there's absolute chaos at Milan right now. I think the most important, the best thing that could happen is probably for Berlusconi to sell Milan, or if he's going to keep Milan, he needs to kind of broker a peace. Either Galliani leaves and Barbara does it her way, or Galliani stays and Barbara backs off, or she accepts that he is the chief, because you can't have this. There is no unity, and you have to have unity
Yeah.
in the boardroom. That was the problem at Inter as well. I mean, before with Moratti, when Moratti was going to sell, and then he sold, and then Tohir came in, and people didn't know what was going on, and then what will forever be known as the great fuck up of January
Yeah,
2014, also known as Guarin Gate. The these kinds of things happen in any business, in any company, when there is no unity, when people don't know what is expected of them, when there is no one leading the leading the forces, or leading the business, and that's the problem here. But I think this issue will resolve itself, because I don't see Galliani staying. I think Galliani will resign at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think that's a very likely outcome, if you ask me. Last question of the show will be like, how do you feel about the European spots? Like, who do you think will make it, even being an Interisti? You guys are still in at fifth place. Milan is only 1 point away from Torino, I believe, from
Mm.
sixth, which would enter them
Mm.
into Europe. But what's your take on that?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Parma and Torino play each other next round.
Yep.
Inter play Lazio at home. Lazio are pretty much away from all discussions. Look, Italy needs to get some coefficients. That's why I hope Napoli, Roma, and Juventus are in the Champions League. I'm glad that Napoli is the team going to play in the qualifying, because Benitez has the cynicism to see off teams in a Champions League qualifier. When it comes to also, I'm happy that it's Fiorentina who is in the Europa League, because Fiorentina wants to win a trophy in Europe, wants to make themselves a name in Europe, so they will go for the Europa League. Inter, Tohir has been very clear. The Europa League is definitely part of next season. They have to qualify for it, and I think Inter will qualify for it. And if Milan really, really want Europe, which seems to be the case, those teams are the right teams. I mean, Inter, Milan, Fiorentina in the Europa League, and the Roma, Juve, and Napoli in the Champions League. I think those are the right teams who will have the financial budget and the financial, they will be available and also have the experience of playing domestically and in Europe. So, or to be fighting on three fronts. So I think these are the correct, in quotation marks, teams in order for Italy to start getting some coefficient points to start, because Portugal will pass Italy now,
Yeah, sadly.
but it's don't France isn't that far behind. I mean, PSG has been doing fantastically. Monaco, who haven't so much money, it's ridiculous. They're also in the Champions League, and they will go for the Champions League. I think Monaco and PSG will spend like nobody's business this summer, and so it's not just Portugal passing them. They need to watch out so that France doesn't pass them as well, because then they'll only have two teams in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Then then we're deep in shit. So
Yeah.
no, I think these are the right teams, and I think it will be Milan, Inter, and Fiorentina in the Europa League, and obviously the other three have already qualified for the Champions.
Perfect. That's yeah, I pretty much 100% agree there as well. Just to end off really quick, who would you say is your top and flop for the match?
For me, De Jong. I think De Jong was the top of the match. He was fantastic. And for Inter, Rolando was the best player on the pitch for Inter. I think he's so solid. I mean, he's so consistent and solid, and he's just been, when he came, he was a laughing stock. I mean, we all laughed at him. I mean, who is this idiot? But why have we gotten this idiot? But he's been our most consistent and probably our best defender with regards to consistency. But flop of the match. Jonathan, I mean, I don't know what he was doing. I think the two fullbacks today, for me, I'd say it's Paulie and Jonathan. They were the flops of the match. But the tops of the match, De Jong and Rolando.
Yeah, I gotta agree there as well. Rolando, like you said, he's been real. It's kind of weird because when you came, yeah, he was like a big laughing stock. Even just like the way he looks, he seems like a player that you just like Constant. You just think like, wow, this guy is just gonna mess up so badly. But yeah, he's been really solid for Inter for the games that I've watched at least. But yeah, for me, my top is De Jong and Rolando, and flop exact same as you, Poli and Jonathan, because Jonathan he was up against Constant the whole game, and he couldn't get by him, which I didn't understand. And Constant, like, yes, he had an okay game, but it's like we all know who it is. Like it shouldn't be that much hard of a task.
No, yeah, but the thing is that, you see, this is also an issue, that Mazzari faces. There's a saying in England which goes, "You can't make chicken soup with chicken shit," and that's the problem that Mazzari has. D'Ambrosio has just come into the team, in January. He hasn't really fully adapted to Mazzari's style of playing football. Jonathan, is too inconsistent, and also this is not the Jonathan that is used to playing week in, week out. This is a Jonathan that's been injured for a month and a half. So so Jonathan, when Jonathan is rusty, I mean, when Jonathan is fully fit, he's a liability. When Jonathan is rusty and hasn't played he's a walking disaster area. Now, today he wasn't a walking disaster area, but he didn't have a good game.
Yeah, 100%. Again, 100% agree. But thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. Follow us on Twitter at Rossoneri TV. Check out our Facebook and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Nemo, would you like to plug any of your stuff?
Yeah, sure. I'm going tomorrow in a few hours. I'm flying down to Milano to. It's the last week. It's the last home game for Inter, for Zanetti and Milito and a bunch of the treble heroes. So if people want to follow me, they can follow me on Twitter on Nima TAV 1981. And also check out Semprinter.com on Twitter, Semprinter.com, the homepage. Same thing on Instagram. We'll be posting stuff up there all the time.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. And as always, Forza Milan!
Merda, Milan, merda.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, take care, man. That was